to save his dad's Mustang convertible, Joe Bricker decided to give it away.
Looked at the pictures like, wow, this is a really nice car. Are you sure you don't want to sell this car? It just seemed too good to be true, really.
A lot of your videos are around the Mustang. You're a Mustang guy. Because if it's just someone that's like just into cars or whatever, like they're probably going to part it out. But if it goes to someone that loves Mustangs, that is into Mustangs, that was the reason I reached out.
I told him, you're not going to give us a car. We're going to pay you something for it. Got the car here, so we're going to evaluate it and see what to do with it. We have a few ideas bouncing around. So here you go, 67 convertible. Got Cougar wheels on it, small block, power steering, power disc brakes, automatic. It did not run. It sat for years. He shipped it non-running. Since then, I've got the car running. It needed a fuel pump. It is a power top, and it works.
Yeah, I watch your channel. I'm that guy that's got that car that I'm never going to work on, but I'm saying I'm going to get it back on the road, and I don't want to be that guy. So let's give it to someone else that will actually work on it. I just wanted to see it properly restored and back on the road.
Does it have to be stock?
I don't care if someone turns it into a hot rod. As long as, it doesn't have massive holes in it and it's structurally sound. It's your car. You can feel free to do whatever you want to do to it.
Fast idle choke right now, so it'll idle down.
Something about the fast idle choke. Got a problem.
He said he tried to sell the car, and everybody that came and looked at the car said it was just too bad to repair. They didn't want to tackle it. Nobody would even give him an offer for it, so he's just going to give us the car.
I think he unstuffed that choke.
Idle it now. I don't know what the engine is yet. It's an A code.
Not now, but that's what it was born with. The 225 horsepower 4-barrel 289, as seen in this restored 67 convertible from my files. The air cleaner label read 289 high performance. Anybody can paste a sticker on an open element air cleaner, but the distributor was a hypo. So what else was hypo under here?
Okay, the engine, as you can see, it has the regular log style non-hypo manifolds. It's got the thicker like a hypo balancer.
Then the hypo distributor.
Mechanically advanced dual point distributor.
Now how rare and valuable was that?
The distributor's worth $1,000 alone. The distributor is a C5, so it's dated. It's like 66. So that would be a good distributor for a 66, early 67 Shelby. And then the intake is a 4-barrel intake, but it's a C8 part number. So this is a 68 intake. I need to, pull the valve cover, see what heads are on it.
Are those real?
Yeah, the exact same one that came on the Shelbys. Not a hypo head. The date code on them is a 68, and then right over here you can see it says the 302.
Upside down.
With the intake and everything, this is I'm pretty sure this is a J code 302.
Did you detect that hesitation in his voice? That's because Jason owns and restored this 1968 J-code Mustang. But he couldn't find a J-code, so he put a 390 in it.
It's not a hypo, but it's still pretty decent.
Decent enough for the 68 GT350 Shelby without significant modifications.
It's got power steering, and it's got power brakes. It's got disc brakes. I'm surprised it's not a GT with all the options it has. Did the MARD report on it. Says it's not a GT. So that's kind of weird. Somebody would order all that and not go ahead and have the GT package.
What about this bar across here? What do we got there?
That's added on. Same way with this brace there. That's just some added on chrome. It helps the handling on it, especially on a convertible. Just really ridges up your engine compartment. That's kind of a good add-on for a convertible.
Is this a Shelby piece though?
That's not an original Shelby piece.
Is this carburetor chromed or what?
It's aluminum components with a zinc plating.
Is the shroud gone on the radiator?
It never had a shroud. Not a small block. This is not from factory. They didn't even finish the wiring. There's nothing's hooked up, basically hanging in there. All this is just added as they were working on the car.
And then this thing has that console, special console.
Probably the console's not original to the car because it has the convenience group holes. It's probably something that they found and added in, because this car is pretty much standard interior with that big old rubber horn button.
Like it's turned over, huh?
Yeah, I'm sure that's turned over. Well, these quarters are full of Bondo. It's got some rust where this primer is, a patch. That's extremely common on all 67s and 8s to have the front corner rust and the lower fender. That's super common. And you can see right here is supposed to be an inner rocker, which is a 14 gauge square, basically the frame of a convertible. And that is gone right there.
Inside the trunk, Jason found this folder. 1967 Mustang, purchased July 8th, 1981, $750. Inside this 4-page handwritten narrative, finally, after months of looking, we came across our Mustang next to the body shop of D&T Auto Sales on Centerville Road. We came across a solid $75 parts car that was owned by a horse trainer. He drove the car here from Indiana. Yes, it was severely rusted out before blowing the engine near Delaware Park. Scott and Irene Bricker. Your dad kind of got you into cars then, right?
Yeah. And the 57 Bel Air I had was my grandfather's car. So, I mean, I kind of already have, like, a sentimental car from the family. That's the one that I'm keeping. I have a lot of other cars. You know, putting, I don't know, $40,000 or $50,000 into a car that's probably only worth that much, I don't know, it's just not really something I wanted to get into. If I just wanted to see it properly restored and back on the road.
Then we painted the car poppy red, added a set of styled steel wheels from a 1968 Cougar, which we also own, and Goodyear raised white leather tires. Okay, you want to explain about the torque boxes or what's bad under here?
Okay, you can see they tried to tar up. They put a patch, like a piece of sheet metal on top of the rusted out floor pan. Now the frame rail here and the torque box in the rear is real solid. You can see this square right through here. This is the inner rocker. On a convertible, they actually installed that on the inside. It's a square box of 14 gauge steel on top of the outer rocker. And this is what makes the convertible rigid and gives it its structure. And you can see this runs all the way until you get right here and it's gone. So the inner rocker is gone. This is where the floor pan should be. And then you can see a hole going right up in there to the torque box. So that front torque box is all rusted out and gone. So easy fix.
If Jason can do the job, he says,
easy fix.
If it's the state of Texas, you'll read, call before you dig.
Need a torque box or one-piece floor pan, and once you get the floor pan out, it's easily accessible to the inner rockers. So the inner rockers can be changed out. These seat perches have to be removed to install the floor pan and the rocker panels. Other than that, as you can see here, they patched this over the floor pan. This is just a piece of galvanized tin and with roof and tar. This is a common deal that you see during the 80s and the 90s. People just used household items and patched stuff. Did the most horrible job you could ever imagine because they were cheap. They didn't know how to do it.
Okay, show me a torque box again.
This is a front torque box. And you can see the layering of the rust.
But what is the function of that torque box?
A torque box, it's like a bracing. It's a triangular system. So it's a bracing of the torque of the car. So as the torque of the engine, the torque of the car, this is a bracing system. Now a early Mustang, like a 65, 66, 67, has a torque box on one side, the driver's side. They do not have a torque box on the passenger side, except convertibles. Convertibles had a torque box on both sides. Now, a coupe and a fastback did not have a torque box on the passenger side until 68. A common upgrade that people do is install the torque box, because you can get this whole torque box as an assembly now. You could get it way back, but you can get it, it's a better fitting assembly nowadays. You see it's welded solid, plus it has about 1/2 inch spot welds through the bottom of the frame, and then it's got stitching. So it takes a little while to get them out. And this is the other one, and you can see the floor pan goes up and meets the top of the torque box and the floor pan, which is the toe board on this, which will be gone, I guarantee you. The toe board will be gone when you get the carpet out. And that rusts out because of the two layers of the top of the torque box and the floor pan touch each other, and they get moisture in between them because they were bare metal from the factory.
Okay, back here, go into this torque box, and where is it and what's wrong?
Well, these are the rear torque boxes right here that this lift pad is sitting on. This is the frame rail. This right here is the torque box.
So to see it, I need to get out here.
This little square right here is the torque box. And they're solid as can be, good shape. The frame rail has some surface corrosion, this white scale. That is surface corrosion. These are actually galvanized and they get a scale on them. But they're not rusted out and they look solid. They got some good surface rust and pitting up in that area, which is common. And now on the drop-offs, you can see how this is just all mudded and full of Bondo. This right here is probably a roofing tin that has a undercoating and Bondo. That's Bondo undercoating over it. So this whole corner is rusted and gone. So the drop-off needs to be replaced and the quarter panel.
So what do you need to, how bad is this?
This is everyday average stuff. This is common. Every car you run across is 60 years old. It's a Mustang. It's been on the road as long as the car is going to have this rust. There's just, unless they were kept inside in immaculate condition, they're all going to be this way. That's an average car rust. It is going to take some work, but it's nothing complicated. It's actually very easy fix. Especially nowadays with the one-piece floor pan. You put a one-piece floor pan in this thing. It be like brand new. It won't have no splices, no Bondo, no nothing. One-piece floor pan, spot welded in. It'll look brand new again. So the parts that we're going to need for this car is outer rockers are solid, so we don't need those. They're actually galvanized. And even though with all this rust, you can see up in there, and you can see the nice, shiny, clean metal. So the outer rocker panel is perfect. Now, we'll need inner rocker panels. We'll need a one-piece floor, which I already have that in stock. And we'll need the front torque boxes and probably toe boards as far as structural items. Now, cosmetic items, we're gonna need probably outer wheel wells and quarter panels for sure. And the trunk drop off.
Wheel wells up here, you mean?
Yeah, the outer wheel wells down in the corners are always rusted. And that's part of the drop off. So all that you can tell is patched and undercoated over. So we'll just put a whole outer wheel well. That way there's no patching, nothing that looks crappy. It'll just be nice, clean, fresh metal. So outer wheel well, new quarters, trunk drop off, and the floor area. Average stuff, no big deal. The engine compartment on this car is actually in really good shape. A lot of times these cars, the aprons will be rusted out, and any more of the front frame rails are rusted out really bad on them, and the shock towers. This car is really solid in that area, which is more important than the floor pan. The floor pans have rusted out of these cars since probably 3 months down the road. They started hitting the salt.
What is this right here?
That's where it's been patched before, and they just kind of Bondoed it up and primed it. So both of those are patches already. That was, it's very common for these front doors to rust out, and very common for that lower corner of the fender to rust out. Easy fixes, just a little bit of welding. Now, this area in here, it's got a little bit of swelling, so it's got some rust in it. So it wouldn't hurt to go ahead and cut it out and fix it. Right here you can see this is a common area, but it's not that bad. The whole panel will not have to be replaced. That panel don't have to be replaced. We just cut a little square out up on the top and replace it. And that was from the water getting in between those two pieces of metal. But it's very solid, very good up in here. The shock towers are in really good shape. The frame rails are in good shape. There's no collision on this car, so the radiator support, the aprons, they're not all bulged in. So all of this is square and true. It's a very good car to use as a project car. Everything's straight. There's no rear end collisions. And that's more important than even the rust. The rust can be fixed. Collision and bulges and bent frames is a whole different deal of repair work. It can cause you misfitting panels and stuff down the road. This car, a little bit of rust repair and everything's going to fit. It's going to make a very good car. Now, this car was originally lime gold with black interior. And then they painted it this orange, probably looks like an Earl Scheib paint job, probably in the 80s sometime. Now, this car, a lot of guys passed over it because it is extensive. This car, once I pull the floor pan, the inner rockers, all of that out, the only thing going to be holding this car together is the outer rockers. You're going to have two thin pieces of 18 gauge steel holding the front and back half together. The car will be completely disassembled, so you're not going to have the weight of the engine or the rear end. It's just going to be floating there, and it's going to be stabilized. But a lot of guys get to that point, they kind of get lost because of their skill level. Or you're going to have to find somebody that can do that for you, and that's going to get very expensive because that's at least $100+ an hour. So the price on this particular car, time you say you buy all the parts, we are going to probably have at least $30,000 in it, with kind of the ideals we have with it and the metal work that it's going to take.
And that's with a lot of saving techniques, like having some of the parts and
reusing what we can, cleaning up, polishing, reusing as much of the small trim items that are reusable.
In other words, you can do it cheaper than a regular person.
Yeah, exactly. And of course, this is our car. We're going to do what we want with it. So the labor rate's not going to be a problem. You're not be paying anybody to do it. So we're just going to have materials in it and parts in it. And what we've been kind of tossing around with it, of course, making a GT500 clone out of it with a Godzilla motor, something like that, or even tossing around going with a GTA and doing the original lime gold paint, white convertible top, parchment interior with deluxe interior. And those are some of the ideals we've had, so we'll see what maybe some of the viewers' ideals are.